Hi everyone, so welcome to this reading. This one's going to be a little bit weird, so channel members, you guys already know, we get a little bit more specific in the channel memberships, so if this resonates for you, awesome. If it doesn't resonate for you, maybe we'll get you next time. There's like this free flow of information that is like a giant river right now that's trying to come through me, so I'm just going to let it go. Because of that, it means that this is going to be very heavy in energy dynamics. I can already tell you that, and it might seem to go off on tangents and rabbit trails, but I feel like whatever it is that it goes off on, it's going to be very pertinent to members within this collective, so I'm just going to let it go. Usually I try to maintain my personhood to kind of cultivate and craft the message, but I'm not going to do that for this one, so this is going to be a longer video, okay? Now, we're going to start off with these two cards. The reason why I have these two cards out is because they were on the table when I moved this deck, and I usually take those cards. This time I'm being told that they're going to be the cards that start us off. So over here we're going to start with the left, and this card is the let go. So whoever this message is for, you are being brought to a place inside your life where you're recognizing that something needs to be released. This could be something that's within the echo chamber of reality. I'm going to get into why that's coming up that way. So it could be a person, it could be a situation, it could be an environment, it could be any of those things inside your reality. For some of you, it's going to be a belief structure, an emotional structure, something that possibly you've desired, okay? And the reason why you're being asked to let go of this, and I'm not going to say you're being asked in terms of something outside of you as asking this, because that's not how this reading is going. I'm just slipping into that language because that's the language I tend to use on the other side of this channel. This is something that you know you need to do, okay? So it's like your deep self is asking you to. You're being asked to let this go. And the reason why is because this is something that is impacting your resonance. We can think of your resonance as your vibration. These are words that get thrown around a lot in the spiritual community, but people don't actually understand them. So I'm going to explain this. When we look into esoteric material, when we look into occult material, people get very dogmatic about it because we see a lot of correspondences, a lot of symbols, and people don't really make the logical jump that those symbols are a language, and we're decoding that language so that we understand what it's actually saying. You know, we tend to stick with the symbols and we don't really understand any further. So this is really going to go deep, okay? That's why I'm prefacing this way. When we talk about a resonance and our vibration, what we're talking about is our fire, our air, and our water. Our fire is our desire, our air is our mind, so our beliefs, our thoughts, and our water is our emotion. Okay, you can think of those as like the magician's tools in the tarot. When those three things are combined, we have pentacle. This is our reality. Our resonance field and our vibration is created by the beliefs that we have, by the feelings that we embody, and by the desire that we're expressing. Okay, and most people go throughout their lives having those three very much not in alignment, and they'll get very frustrated by it and be like, oh, but they're in alignment, and they're really not. Our beliefs are strange things. We have our surface beliefs, we have our middle beliefs, and we have our deep beliefs, right? We have unconscious beliefs, and our unconscious beliefs are the beliefs that we have that we don't always have access to. That's why they're unconscious. It takes a lot of work to root those out. But inside of this resonance field, it's like it's affecting the echo chamber of our reality. Whoever this message is for, you've probably had a lot of things kind of go wrong in this 6 months of this year, maybe even before that. And in order to improve your reality, and in order to improve your vibration, you have to start by improving your beliefs. Your beliefs give rise to your emotions. Your beliefs give rise to the quality of your desire. And when those beliefs are not in order with your desires and your emotions and, you know, your highest will, we could think of it as, this causes the things to be manifested towards you to be corrupt. So we can see this often in people's relationships. You know, they start to have more self-efficacy, and they start to have like more love for themselves, and they're trying to manifest the perfect partner for themselves, and they can't understand why they're not. And, you know, maybe I manifested this person who seemed amazing at first, but then, you know, oh, here I still have this storyline coming up, and that's because there's still some beliefs to work through. The process of self-love is not a one and done. It's like an onion, and the layers are constantly getting peeled back. And the things that you tolerate from people, the red flags that you're accepting from people, you will whittle those away so far that you are releasing people that you never thought that you would release, right? Or you are releasing people who approach you that you never thought that you would release, because you'll say, oh wow, like, you know, all that stuff that you're saying to me is meant to make me feel good, but this is kind of a red flag that you're possibly a love bomber, you know. And this is the energy that I'm seeing here. Somebody is understanding that they need to release something so that they can finally repair some sort of belief system, or finally repair some sort of version of love that they've held on to. And because this is the key, right? This is the key. It's not that you need to release it for it to happen. It's that you've started to cultivate that type of love and that sort of belief system that is causing you to want to release this. And to go further, it has to be sacrificed, right? To enter the Holy of Holies, something must be sacrificed. It's how the energy is being given to me that way. So we move over here into the golden. And I also want to say that energy that I'm being given for this, it doesn't necessarily mean like cutting ties or a clean break or a door slam or any of that. For some of you, it's going to be, and you have to decide if that's your story. For some of you, it's just removing far enough from your field, okay? Here with the golden, and this is my favorite card out of any deck, by the way. Like, oh my god, I could do a whole video on like the artistic elements of this card and why it's my favorite, but it would be a very boring video, so I'm not going to do that. But this this card just gets me every single time. I get kind of emotional every time I see it. So what we have here with the golden is we have this void space around the heart space, and this is where we're emptying out the heart of these beliefs that are holding us back, right? It's not a black cloud, it's a white cloud. This is a higher level of energy. And so all the colors combined in this most beautiful, expressive way, because if it was black, it would be magnetic way, right? Black is a color that draws in all colors and all light. It's made of all colors, but it draws in all light. And so this is an expressive energy. This is, again, our resonance. Our resonance is trying to go from this blue energy. When we think about blue, there's a reason why when we say someone's depressed, we say feeling blue. Blue can be very moody. It can be too sensitive. And I'm going to use the word too sensitive because when we're too sensitive, we hold other people accountable for things they shouldn't be accountable for. To a larger degree, we choose how we feel. And that's a responsibility a lot of people have a hard time accepting for themselves. You know, we choose to hear what someone is saying as a certain way. We choose to take things a certain way, and those all arise out of our belief systems, our beliefs about ourselves. So if you're working on a process of self-love and you still find that you're getting triggered or you're getting hurt by things that everyone around you are saying, sit with that, sit with that right there is an indicator that we have some beliefs that maybe aren't in order in terms of our worthiness or how people view us. Obviously, if you know that you're surrounded by a bunch of toxic dumbasses, that's going to be different. Now, the golden energy is an interesting energy because what this is saying is that our resonance needs to improve in order to preserve the sanctity of our heart space. So the sanctity of our heart space, we're going to get into that, and I feel that this is where the deep dive is going to start happening, okay? So if you're bored already, you're going to be very bored during this reading. Let me just tell you that right now. Click off now so that you can preserve the sanctity of your mind. So this golden energy, we can think of this as a combination, and this has been coming up in the readings lately, a combination of our solar plexus energy, which is that beautiful yellow energy, and then what most people call the Christ consciousness, which sits above a foot above our head, and this is a beautiful golden energy. Christ consciousness, people will say this is your connection to the divine, this is your connection to the collective. Really, your connection to the human collective is actually your earth star. It's what connects you to the human collective, the plant collective, the animal collective, all things that spring from the earth, okay? When we get into this Christ consciousness, what this is really activating is this is your higher intention for that collective and your feelings of oneness. So you're understanding that even though I'm connected to this collective and into the collective unconscious, which is what the earth star is, I'm also able to perceive a oneness. So whoever this message is for, this is what you know that you're trying to develop within yourself. It's like we may be trying to utilize our heart space to feel that connection and that oneness. I want to explain why The heart space isn't necessarily built for that. The heart space, absolutely, you can feel connection through it. But the heart space is really about giving and receiving. That's what what the function of the heart space is. It's really that Christ consciousness, which is our ability to feel the oneness and the interconnection of things. And so this is where that interconnection comes in and embodies the giving and receiving. So giving and receiving energy from a much more powerful divine state, right? This is where we experience like the oneness in its totality. Experiences of, for example, the ego fading away. When I say the ego, I mean the identity fading away, and having glimpses behind that curtain where you really understand the oneness of things, where you really understand that your energy affects things. These are the energies that someone is being brought into. You may have already had some of these experiences, but this is what the energy is trying to bring you into. And it's not just that divine experience of the oneness, it's manifesting from a divine state. So there's a heavy element in this of the next phase of someone's life starting this Cancer season. And if we are able to successfully change our resonance by releasing what needs to be released and sacrificing what we need to sacrifice, that this is opening up this sort of new era inside of our life where we start to manifest the things that we truly desire, and not from an egocentric state. Like, I want this specific person to want me, and I want this job because I need, like, this sort of accolades or this admiration, or I want to be famous, or, it's none of those ego feeding spaces. It's from a space of, this is what I came here to do. This is my mission. This is what my soul feels it must do in order to feel fulfilled. And this is beautiful. This is beautiful energy. Okay, so let's get some more cards here. As I'm talking about that, as the sacrifice that we have to make, I was being shown Odin and Mimir as well. So if you're unfamiliar with the mythology, there's different versions of the story actually, but the one with Mimir as well is where Odin sacrifices his eye to gain the knowledge of runes at Mimir's well. And this well really represents this sort of deep unconscious space where all the mysteries are held. And so it's not that we're going in for this egoic reason to necessarily, like, I want all the knowledge, and so I have to know everything. Like, we're not doing that. What we're doing is we want to understand what we can contribute, how we can feel fulfilled. For some of you, it's not even about contributing to others. Your life mission is about fulfilling yourself this time. Okay. So there's very much a divine way to do that. Okay. Ego-driven. Ego will fight to keep you small by pretending you're above everyone else. When being right matters more than being real, your evolution stalls. So this may be one of the energies someone is dealing with in this not letting something go. It is perhaps that you are being kept small in some way. Maybe there are these arguments that you're involved in where you have to be right, or you may still be holding a sword to the world around you. This may be something that needs to be let go of as well. Whatever it is that we're holding on to, though, the main idea for me is that it satisfies the ego in some way. I see this sometimes when people are holding on to other people. It can take some real reflection to look at, what is this person supplying you in terms of a false belief? Is it the belief that, oh, I need you? Is it the belief that, I need you because of, and then enter role, right? Whatever role. These are all functions of the ego, but whatever it is, it's still serving to keep you small. And quite possibly, if we're real, it's serving to keep the other person small as well. And another reason why we may have a hard time letting go is because of this card here, playing safe. You know what you're capable of, so stop pretending you don't. Just don't keep things safe, quiet, or familiar. We may be holding on to something because it feels familiar. Okay, now let's get one card for between these two. Let go and golden. Okay, avoiding pain. You've been sedating your soul with distractions and denial, but deep healing demands presence, not escape. So this is what this sovereign heart space, the sanctity of your heart, is requiring at this time, is to face something that's very difficult to face, quite possibly cutting something away for some of you. And follower, if you keep letting others decide the direction, don't be surprised when you end up lost. Okay, and this may be how someone feels at this time, especially if you have, for example, crafted your life around another person, or even around like a job or a friend group. You may feel that at some point you kind of lost your own direction or your own way, and so this is another reason why we need to let this go. Okay. The stories we tell ourselves. Are you narrating your life through a lens of limitation or empowerment? Okay, so that's really the question to ponder here in terms of this. Are we kind of narrating the difficulty of holding on, releasing, of making something exit our field of proximity, right? Is it because we have some sort of stories that we have on ourselves about still deserving little, or still, you know, like, oh, I received so little from this situation, but I'm going to make excuses for it, right? I'm gonna express something that I heard the other day from someone very interesting, and it was assume that everyone is awake, aware, and intentional. Okay, I think that they originally got it from a YouTube video, but it's very impactful, right? Because I think that, especially if you're an empath, it's like, I may have mentioned this in the video the other day, I can't remember, for some reason it's bringing me back to the video I did yesterday. Sometimes when you're an empath, it's like you grow up to make excuses for people, because it's like almost this feeling of, oh, nobody else in the room is awake. I'm the only person that's awake. And so I am the only one that can see why they're doing these things. And they're not going to consider me, but I'm going to consider them all the time because I'm the only person in the room that's awake, right? Just remember, right? That's part of our ego complex. And it's part of the ego complex and it's a story that we've told ourselves because that's how we kept ourselves safe, and that's how we kept things less painful. In reality, people know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And, even the people that are like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. Well, you should have. You fucking should have, So you don't have to sacrifice your emotional health for other people's blindness. Okay? You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. When you get in the habit of doing that and making that the state that you operate at, you literally hand your life over to other people. You hand your heart space over to other people. You hand so much of your personal power, your sovereignty, your personal story to other people. Decenter other people. You are always meant to be the main character of your story. Okay? Well, I laid out a hell of a lot of cards before I realized the spam call just interrupted me. Even when I put the do not disturb on my focus, for some reason there's still like one or two that'll come through. So it's kind of weird. Is that like a thing? Is there something? Do I need to do something? Let me know. So yeah, let's go back. I think that where that probably ended, when I just looked at the end frame of the last one, is talking about decentering other people. So it's very important inside of our life that we learn to center ourselves as the main character. This is what healthy people do, and it's what a lot of us weren't taught to do. Spiritual people, we usually had very difficult childhoods, which is what caused us to lean into spirituality. That's not everyone, of course, but that's how a lot of us came to this. And so because of that, you probably had to center other people and other people's needs and other people's desires, and, carving out your life for other people and what they want to do. And, whereas people who grew up in healthier homes, they grew up thinking, what do I want to do? What do I want to become? How do I want my life to go? And it's important that we start to navigate over to that sector of being, because that's where we express our empowerment. And I always have people who want to argue about that, and that's fine. You're more than welcome to argue with that, but how's your solar plexus? The evidence of how we the evidence of our mental, emotional, and physical health is displayed by our chakras. The easiest way to balance and heal and restore your chakra system is by balancing and healing your emotional health, your mental health, okay? And really allowing yourself to take the actions that you need to take for yourself and to create stability for yourself. This is the easiest way. And that's because they are a byproduct of your actions, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions. This is the path for somebody now, is like, understanding that you don't have to be subject or victim to your universe, that the universe is a co-creative energy with you, and that universe is trying to engage with you at all times. The energy of the universe itself is, some people could consider it very neutral, very cold, but on our collective level, the universe is love, right? When we're inside of like this matrix that our consciousness is embodying, it's always love. And this is a fact of creation. The creative energy itself is love. And so for whoever this message is for, this is really about focusing on that heart health, right? Yes, even physically for some of you. This doesn't mean that we want to eliminate everything that's difficult, right? Difficulty is how we strengthen ourselves. Difficulty is how we grow. But it's saying that when you have something that's consistently betraying you, consistently stabbing those knives in your heart space, or consistently pulling personal power away from you, this is what we want to be mindful of. Because those will keep those negative beliefs in place. They will keep the negative patterns in place. And right now, whoever this message is for, this time in your life is all about cleaning up your resonance. Resonating to a new vibration, calling in new experiences, calling in new people, calling in new things. Okay? Okay. I believe this came out in yesterday's reading, maybe it was 2 days ago. Life force. So again, your resonance and that sanctity of your heart space, that emblazoning of the heart space that takes place when we're opening it and we're giving and receiving from a place of oneness and also personal power, the balance between those two extremes. This is what contributes to our life force. And I don't mean life force in terms of how much energy you have, though obviously that's going to be part of it. Your life force is so much more than that. It's the light that you emit into the planes. It's the energetic strength of your aura. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but there are some people whose life force is so strong that they walk into a room and you can feel them before they ever walk in. And this is how you know that you're dealing with someone who has this sort of very strong self-empowerment that is originating from not just their experiences here in this lifetime, but quite possibly a well of energy that's extending from other lifetimes as well. This is where we're aligning to all of ourselves, and it comes through a process of rebirth and transformation. And notice how this individual, they're the only individual in any of these cards, well, maybe this fella up here who looks awfully like Jason Momoa. That's very strange. Okay, anyway. Side note, pretty funny, I'm not a Momoa girl, but that dude's in a lot of my dreams. It's pretty funny. I don't know what he symbolizes for me. Like Big Brother energy all the way. Let's see. So with life force, this is also an energy of, this is the only individual that it's like they've been stripped of things. They've been stripped of their garments, their outer shells. And I'm also noticing that they seem to have their hands around their own neck, like with the balls of their palms in front of the throat center. So for some of you, if you have a habit of trying to explain and trying to talk it out, don't. Okay? If you find yourself always in these situations where you're like basically explaining, like basically it's like begging somebody for something, stop. Sometimes by using our words too much, we're actually giving away our power. If you're someone who, you lead with the foot of like sharing too much, I'm going to say something, and this is kind of tough for people to hear. I just feel like I wish someone would have said this to me. An overshare is a giant red flag for someone, okay? And the reason why is because if you're oversharing, it means you don't have good boundaries. You don't understand timing. You don't have the patience to get to know somebody. So make sure that when you overshare, you understand what energy belongs to other people and what's the energy that maybe you should keep to yourself. It puts people in really awkward positions. And what I see here is that someone may need to stop oversharing or over-explaining. It's like sometimes I feel that people try to over-explain or over-have the conversation. I know that English is not good. They try to over-have the conversation because they can't believe that someone feels the way they do or doesn't feel the way they do, or they can't believe that someone would actually be operating out of this space. Believe them. Okay, you have to believe them. And preserve your self-respect and believe them. So this is essentially the energy that we need for ourselves in order to cause this sort of rebirth. I'm almost saying that this is the precursor to this energy. And, you know, you may have this sort of round and round that you go through on your way out the second birth canal. And that's probably going to be emotional and mental in nature. You're probably going to have this round and round about what it is that you're letting go. The ability to suffer is an important ability to cultivate. When we're afraid to suffer, we're constantly looking for pleasure, right? We're always looking for comfort, to be comfortable, to feel good. And there's only so much evolution we can do when we keep ourselves in those spaces. I want to read some quotes from Eliphas Levi here. I just happen to have this book over here, so I just opened it, paused the video real fast, and here we go. So the first quote is one that is well known. It's to know, to dare, to will, to keep silence. Such are the 4 words of the Magus, inscribed upon the 4 symbol forms of the Sphinx. This to know, to dare, to will, to keep silence, this is very famous amongst people who study ceremonial magic. And it's something that I think we could learn a little bit from, because it's not just having our intention and having the bravery to go about setting out our intention, but it's also the understanding that sometimes silence is necessary. Because we're so focused on opening up the throat and expression and being our authentic selves, people mistake authenticity for being loud. They mistake authenticity for like verbal diarrhea. And in reality, authenticity comes in equal parts of silence, because silence is an important part of the self. You know, the deep self is always silent, speaking very subtly to us, not to everyone else. The second quote I want to read is this, because it directly relates to the idea that we must learn how to suffer in order to transcend. And it's to know how to suffer, to forbear, and to die. Such are the first secrets, not the second, not the third, the first secrets, which place us beyond reach of affliction, the desires of the flesh, and the fear of annihilation. So in order to come into this energy of this sovereign oneness for someone, there will be a lesson on how to suffer. And this is what this may be for you, which is why a sacrifice is required. It's not in this weird, like, you must give me something before you gain entrance. It's your soul has to learn how to go through that pain and how to remove things that aren't healthy for it in order for the soul to really be able to flourish. So I'm going to leave this here. And whoever's message this is, I wish you the best of luck with this. For some of you, this is going to apply to some very surprising things. For some of you, this may apply to entire phases of your life, not just certain events or people or a job or, an individuated thing. It may apply to something quite surprising. And whatever it is that's on the other side of this, this represents this beautiful unification of oneness and a continuation of a new journey. So I wish you the best of luck with this, and feel free to leave a comment, feel free to like this video, and until next time.